How's it, everybody? We're today back at Kongwini 4x4, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit stupid maybe, but we'll see. We're going to take, and you'll see it now, the Range Rover Velar on a 4x4 trail. Tony, what do you think? You think this is going to work?
I think this is going to work. Look, it's not intended for it. It's not its main job, but let's have a look and see what the car will give us.
Because this is actually a crossover. It's not. There's no low range in this. This is just an all-wheel drive system with, I think there's 3 settings. It's what, snow and sand, mud and ruts,
yeah.
and what? There's another one.
So well, and obviously gravel roads
Yeah.
driving. So the biggest thing about 4x4ing in our world, that we know it as 4x4, is that you get 3 types of 4x4s. You get a selectable 4x4, you get a permanent 4-wheel drive vehicle, and then we get an all-wheel drive. Now, unfortunately, the only difference is that all-wheel drive doesn't have low range.
So there's no transfer case.
So there's no transfer case. However, the car systems will give us a lot of functions that's going to make it still that much easier to work with.
We're not going to really 4x4 it.
No.
We're more going to see if, can you take this over landing?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, exactly what you said. This is what our intention is. We don't want to see how high we can climb and how deep we can go into things. We want to know that we can take this car over landing and comfortably do a little bit of a ridge or wash away without fearing. So knowing what the car can do out there in the bush is perfect. That's all we need to know.
And Range Rover Velar, 3-litre diesel,
Yo.
21 kilowatts.
Not shy at all.
650 newton meters of torque.
Car's not shy at all.
0 to 100, 6.5 seconds.
And it does that.
Yeah. So, but the first thing, we're not going to try and see if we can do articulations and stuff with the vehicle. It is really more a sensible thing of trying to see, is this vehicle capable of taking you into, let's say, a Ghana Reserve or
Could you
the
do a Botswana trip?
Mahari
Yeah.
or Botswana trip.
Yeah.
It's not to see if you can go and climb baboon spots.
Exactly.
But yeah, guys, let's see. Stupid? Don't know. Can it do it? We'll see. But yeah, let's go.
Excellent. All right, so we're now moving forward. I've selected an off-road mode. We've got Ride Out 2, and I see naturally the hill descent control button has come on, and we've put the dynamic stability control off. I'm running in a manual mode in the gearbox, so we're now back to D1 again, and we'll see what the ground clearance gives us over this first little lump here. Don't foresee an issue. And as we mentioned, we're not going to do massive, serious 4x4ing. That's not the intention. It's just to feel that what the car's capable of, and at no stage have an issue with that. Well, there we got traction control kicking in for us for the first time. Nice soft sand. And look at that, it worked brilliantly. So once again, with traction control, as it's working, this car could almost run on one wheel. So far, traction control works very well. Kicked in nice, very quick, absolutely minimal slippage. Now we're going to negotiate a little uphill climb here. You know, once again, we obviously don't expect you to be doing this with your Range Rover Velar, but we know that once you've done something like this, well, the car's incredibly capable of doing it. And if you ever did come across something as steep as this, the car could comfortably do it. This is absolutely stunning. I'm super impressed. I'll tell you one thing. This car's reverse camera and forward camera is amazing. The quality is exceptional. I can physically see a leaf laying on the ground here. It's brilliant. One other little hill that I'm going to negotiate here. This is not ideal for what the car is intended or what one would really do. But once again, incredibly capable. Brilliant. Okay, so we're gonna leave and reverse back here. As we move back, and as we mentioned, we can't expect the car to be doing what a Defender can do. And it's not that the car can't do it, it's just that we have some very, very pretty side sills and spoilers on the car that we certainly don't want to be scratching or damaging at the moment.
So Tony, what do you think so far?
Well, yes, obviously the car is not intended or designed around what we've just done with it, but fairly impressive. The whole theory is if you just work on what the car is offering you, you can take it. And looking at what we've done now is obviously a bit on the excessive side. But the nice part of knowing is that if you ever do come across something like a little bit of a dip or a ridge like that, comfortably the car will go over it.
We do have a bit of a limitation here because we're also sitting on highway terrain tires.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 22-inch wheel with like, I think there's barely any flipping profile on this thing. So it does hinder us in certain aspects. I mean, when you did the sidewall now, you could see that the car was sliding a little bit down, but that's not because of the fact that the car can't do it. It's more of the wheels not having the traction
Yes.
to go around it.
And not forgetting, we didn't deflate the tires at all.
Yeah.
We're running on normal pressures.
Well, I don't know what we're going to deflate on this. And I mean, I think at this point, yeah.
Well, you can clearly see the mark that we're running at. We're almost onto the rim. And obviously, yeah, sadly, you know, the higher the profile, the better the car operates in an off-road situation. But again, we must just not forget the fact that that's not what we're doing. We've just come to see that the car could cope with some of the obstacles if they go on a tour. And I don't have any fear of doing that now either.
Again, and we also said, listen, we're not going to do the axle twister because obviously ride height of the vehicle, it's good at this point, but it's still not where we would like to see it from a proper 4x4.
Absolutely, yeah.
And to take into consideration, this is not a proper 4x4. This is an all-wheel drive. They call it themselves a crossover, but it's a Range Rover crossover. So still pretty capable.
Absolutely. And like I say, I mean, actually, you know, looking at it now, besides the fact that the tire is a very low profile tire, I wouldn't be afraid to go on an overland adventure with this. Obviously, we're not going to do the Angolas and the big trips like that. But a trip into Botswana or to Gonarezhou even, I wouldn't fear.
And I think this thing also, I mean, towing capacity of this, I think it's close to three tons, if it's not more than that. So with the engine, the towing capacity, you should be fairly comfortable going most of the places that isn't too hectic.
Yeah. Power is definitely not an issue.
No.
So we know the power is there. The gearbox is incredibly smooth, and I ran on a manual mode now, obviously, you know, with first and second gear. Car feels good, no slippage, no issues, no warning lights came on in the sense of overheating gearboxes and things like that. So once
And
again,
you did go down a bit of a slope. Did you test the engine's braking?
I just ran on engine braking on the way down.
So first gear, just going down that little...
That's it, with its hill descent control on. So the hill descent control, brilliant. It really does work well.
A good thing, because I didn't know that you switched it on, because normally if you switch on hill descent controls, it sounds like you've got a bunch of midgets in the gearbox hammering things, and this was quiet. It didn't make noises or any strange things.
Amazingly, you're right. What you said now, it sounds like a massive noise, and everything sounds like it's breaking, but it's a good noise. The manufacturer actually can make it that noise goes away, but they don't want to. They want you to know that's the system working. That is why things like traction control and ABS has that violent kick on the ABS or brakes and the noise that you hear. It's a good noise because the manufacturer needs you, the driver, to know that this system is operating at that stage.
And just the last thing, the downhill descent control. Sometimes when you switch it on, there's a lag before it realizes, oh hell, I need to work. How quick did this kick in?
Unfortunately, we didn't have that opportunity now, not on the little hill that I did now, was to let it actually run and then see where it operated from. But feeling what it did, it seemed to work almost immediately. But we'll see if we can find a spot later and maybe to redo a test on that one again.
We should go up to where the little stream is, because there's a couple of nice dongas and stuff that I think we can take this into and not damage the vehicle.
Yeah.
Obviously, guys, we're not going to try and damage the vehicle. It is a 2.16 something million rand car, so I would like to have a good relationship with Land Rover after this as well.
Even though I've got a Land Rover hat doesn't mean we own the car. Eh?
Yeah, I know. So we have to look after it. We're not going to do something silly, but we are going to try and see how far we can push it before we have to say, yeah, this is not a good idea. But yeah, Tony,
the limits are good. The limits are good.
Are we going to head up?
So we'll go up there now and have a look. Nice donga and more natural scenario, yes.
Let's go and play.
Cool.
Mr. Yeo.
Yes, sir.
4x4ing with a Velar.
Very different. Very different.
Capable?
Yeah, not something I'd recommend. But with all respect to what this car is designed for, very capable.
Well, we did some things with it today that it's not really supposed to be doing.
No, I agree. Yeah, we shouldn't have done some of the stuff. But yes,
yeah,
car coped with it and came out pretty well fine. No issues with it, and everything that you wanted, like the traction controls and the low range, the low range, the hill descent, they all work.
And there's decent engine braking when you put it in first gear and going down something. It's not great,
yeah,
but it's helpful.
Well, considering once again we keep on going back to it, the car's not designed for it. So having a first gear, which is what I was running in first gear. It's amazing. It actually kept the car for what we would do.
And what we also forget all the time is that normally when you put something in first gear to have a controlled descent, you're also in low range. So
yeah,
the gearing is much different. So you're not going to get that fast movement anyway. Those gears are made to go slow.
Yeah, correct.
And this one doesn't have that. So no transfer case. Biggest problem we had today? Wheels.
Well, yeah, I think this obviously would be always the old issue is the size of the tires. And 22 inch is not really the nicest tire to be running around in. It looks shit hot, but unfortunately,
it's a little bit cold.
It's not what we want here.
Very amazing departure angle.
Incredible. Actually, incredible.
Approach angle, that little lip it's got at the bottom for the sexy thing. I mean, you can see a little bit of mud here, but at least we stopped before we saw if there was rocks or stuff underneath it.
Yeah.
So approach angle not that great.
Yeah, and I think, and again, it's more due to the body than anything else. I mean, if this lip was off, you can clearly see there you'd gain lots of ground clearance that way. Yeah.
Breakover angle?
Not too shabby, because remembering that the car has two ride-out settings. Well, two up stage hard
off-road settings.
Yeah, off-road height settings, if you want to call them that. Then it's got a natural normal mode, and of course then it's got access mode. But we were in what they call high road 2, off-road 2, and brilliant. I mean, I think the ground clearance was actually substantial for this car.
For what it is.
For what it is. And number two, our breakover angle, I think due to the wheelbase, just all worked out well.
Now, you played with it a little bit on the way here, on the tarmac. Did you like it?
I love it. Yeah, thanks Land Rover. I like my new car. I really would love. Thank you very much for helping us out. Yeah, no, the car it's amazing. The handling is incredible, and it's also important that you do choose the right mode when you're going to play. Like if you're going to do the Sabi roads or the Drakensberg roads, and then you got to choose the right air suspension setting, because otherwise the car can wallow a bit.
Because there's an auto setting and there's a dynamic setting and then there's a sport and an eco
Yeah.
and what have you.
So you got to choose the right one, because that's what the car is going to give you the best out of it. And like we drove in both modes. Cornering is amazing. The car is absolutely the road. The drive is actually stunning.
So, big question. Will you take it to Botswana,
I'd be very nervous.
tire-wise?
I wouldn't say no, but I'd be very nervous, and only due to the fact of the wheels again. It just keeps on going back to the wheels. That sadly, yeah, I would fear every kilometer that I'm moving.
But I do believe that you can put 20-inch wheels on this, and that will give you maybe a little bit more profile to your tire.
Yeah.
Which means that maybe you will be able to deflate it a little bit. We did a little bit of sand driving with this, and the sand mode wasn't as responsive as I would have thought it would have been. But when we put it back into mud and ruts, it actually performed better on the sand.
Yeah, incredible. I would have thought that the sand mode in that thick sand that we drove in would have been good, but it seems that I don't know if the traction controls are just a little bit slow or whatever the case may be. But once we moved over to mud and ruts, incredible, the car just performed faultlessly. And remember, I mentioned as well that we took one of these to the snow in Lesotho, and we drove through the snow. And we didn't only do tar roads, but we also did some gravel roads. Fortunately, the snow hadn't melted yet; it was just perfect snow. And even there, the car performed faultlessly.
Okay, so do you like it?
I love it.
And apparently, this is now for the next year's yours. When
Yeah.
are we going to tell Land Rover
I
that?
think I could handle it. I'm just not sure what tours we're going to be able to do with it.
And the fuel consumption.
We'll just change our perception now. We'll go to the Sun Cities and we'll go.
But guys, yeah, if you like what you see, please follow and subscribe and ring the bell icon. And yeah, thanks, Tony.
Thank you. See you guys again.
And see you guys next time. Cheers.